party chairman and the leadership of the party, honorable members of parliament, members of the National Executive Committee of the party, our friends, members of the Fourth Estate who have responded to our call. I wish to thank you for finding time to come and listen to us and to broadcast to the country and to the world what we have to say about what now seems to be a controversial matter of a purported delegates conference that was held in the names of the FDC 2 days ago on plot 6, Katonga Road. Our attention has been drawn to the purported National Delegates Conference chaired by our former national chairman, Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, on Monday, 19th August 2024 at Katonga in Kampala, where they purported to dissolve the FDC party under Article 36 of the party constitution. They also resolved to extend the tenure of the purported national leadership of the group led by a man who is a source of confusion everywhere he goes, Mr. Elias Lukwago. And lastly, they resolved to form a new political party. Fast forward, the purported National Delegates Conference called by the former chairman, Ambassador Birigwa, was ultra-vires and void as the convener, and with the ruling of Justice Esther Nambayo, which slapped a court order restraining the same Birigwa and Katonga adherents from organizing the so-called Extra Delegates Conference on the 19th of September, thus rendering any resolution of such a meeting a nullity. So it is our considered view and the view of court that whatever resolutions came thereafter this ruling, including the resolutions of the 19th August 2024, are a nullity and considered as merely a fallacy. It would be recalled that while the leadership in Najjankumbi organized leadership renewal as per the National Council chaired by Ambassador Birigwa on 28th July 2023, which resolved to conduct the elections from village to national level, our colleagues at Katonga went to court to challenge our National Delegates Conference. And by the way, the resolutions of 28th of July 2023 were signed by the same Waswa Birigwa, a man who is now known to be a climber of walls. And this, and you could be surprised to have seen him in Katonga posturing as a chairman of a National Delegates Conference. I think if there isn't simply some confusion in this gentleman's head that would require detailed examination, then there is something else that needs to be done. Justice Musa Sekana dismissed the petition and cleared the leadership of Najjankumbi to go on with the National Delegates Conference that took place in Padidar, Samoj, in Lugogo on 6th October 2023, which conference elected the current office bearers. After the conference, the newly elected leadership was filed with the Electoral Commission and was duly certified. Noteworthy is that the Justice Sekana ruling has not been challenged up to now. That means there was an adherence to this particular ruling, and yet our friends have continued to act in contempt of court. Just to demonstrate to you who are in charge of this party, I've already said, we are recognized by the regulator of political parties in this country. All pieces of correspondence regarding the FDC is made within ourselves and outside of the FDC by the duly elected and recognized Secretary General Nathan Nandala Mafabi James. We have continued to dispense our duties and responsibilities unchallenged. We fronted Dr. Rosemary Alwoch Ogwal as candidate for Dokolo by-election under the signature of Nandala Mafabi James. We also designated Honorable Yusuf Sibambi as party whip, now recognized by Parliament, replacing the renegade Honorable Ibrahim Semuju Nganda. At this point, I would like the country to note that there were attempts by some misguided members of Parliament, including Francis Mujuke, who went and petitioned the Speaker of Parliament. The Right Honorable Speaker made a ruling, and in her ruling she said, I would like to advise that the National Delegates Conference do pronounce itself on this matter. And we did. Semuju had to move out of that office and give way, yield to the authority of Yusuf Sibambi, our new whip. We have continued to receive funds from the Electoral Commission, which funds are allocated to parties represented in Parliament in accordance with the law based on the proportion that is represented by every party in the House. We have utilized these funds immediately, efficiently, and filed accountability returns to the regulator of political parties. We have also answered audit queries. The Electoral Commission has not been to Katonga to issue statements of the Auditor General. The Electoral Commission has not been to Katonga to ask for accountability of any funds. The Electoral Commission has not been to Katonga to ask them to file a list of leaders that are duly elected. In fact, our friends wandered into the banks in this country, wanting to take control over the accounts of the FDC. They were told by the bank authorities they do not know them. And so our leaders here who are authorized continue to transact under the signature of the Secretary General and that of the Treasurer General of all accounts that belong to the FDC. And this is in accordance with the Political Parties and Organizations Act 2005. We have never had any objection to our operations as political parties. we continue to operate official business of the party from plot 1164 Entebbe Road in Kampala, commonly known as Najjankumbi, where we are here now. Those guys who have behaved like thugs cannot come here to conduct any business. This is the official seat of the FDC, with the authorized officials sitting here. Lukwago cannot come and sit in my office. He comes to sit here as who? He can't. And you know, if he thinks he's the president of the party, let him dare come here tomorrow. So with respect to winding up our political party, the only legitimate body that is authorized to engage in the process of dissolving the party, as per Article 36 of the party constitution, is the leadership at Najjankumbi. And we give respect and honor to our party chairman, who is not Waswa Birigwa, but the Honorable Jack Sabiti. So our colleagues at Katonga have no locus of dissolving the party. They don't have control over anything in the party. They can only continue in clownish posturing that we see written everywhere in whatever they do. And it's really very surprising that the man that is even made to read the resolutions, Elias Lukwago, to dissolve this party, does not know where we came from. He has no clue whatsoever what it took to form this party, to maintain it above political water. He has no clue whatsoever about the pain that we have endured in sustaining this party. And he comes here making fun about the funeral of the FDC. It is extremely painful for us that Lukwago, who has put nothing, absolutely nothing, to this party, is the person who would want to bury this party. And I want to invite our members listening to us in this country and all over the world to look at this critically and to analyze the intention of Lukwago, who has been running from party to party, killing these political organizations. This is also an opportunity for me to reach out to our friends who would like to associate with this kind of group, that they do that at the risk of their political extinction. The other day I heard Dr. Besigye inviting political organizations to work with them so that they may do the same thing that they are trying to do with the FDC. This is a warning I am sounding especially to Luchamuzi, whose party I understand our friends are going towards. He must be aware of killers of political parties, including Lukwago and Semuju. Concerning our colleagues' resolution to form a new political party as per their constitution, we in the leadership of the FDC have no objection with this kind of arrangement. The Constitution of Uganda guarantees the freedom of association, which we respect. And they will not be the first group to start a new party from the FDC fold. The country will appreciate that in 2010, the Honorable Betty Olive Namisango Kamea Turuomwe, having disagreed with Dr. Kizza Besigye, the Dr. Kizza Besigye administration, broke away from the FDC and formed the Uganda Federal Alliance. She didn't quarrel while living. She didn't set conditions while living. Betty Olive Kamea was a founder member of the FDC. We sat with her at Bonita, even while Dr. Besigye was out of the country in exile, to form the FDC and to endorse Dr. Kizza Besigye as our first president. But she walked out of the FDC. She expressed her issues and went away in peace. Similarly, in 2019, our immediate former party president, Major General retired Gregory Mugisha Muntu, formed the Alliance for National Transformation. Muntu is such a decent man. He came to Najjankumbi to hand over office to me. He later came to Najjankumbi in my office to inform me that he was carrying out a countrywide consultation. We kept talking to each other in the hope that General Muntu and the team that wanted to depart at the time would stay within the fold. He told me there were irreconcilable differences that probably I didn't know about, and it was time for him to leave. He left in peace. And so my expectation from our friends from Kadonga would have been for them to do whatever they would have loved to do, including countrywide consultations that they did, and took a decision to live in peace. It is therefore ridiculous that Dr. Kizza Besigye and his team would find it convenient to kill the FDC first before forming another organization. And that is an indictment on them. The Katonga purported National Delegates Conference resolved to extend their term, their so-called interim leadership, led by one Elias Lukwago. We want to observe that in our party constitution, there is no provision for interim leadership. It is ridiculous, foolery, clownish, ultra-vires to assign anybody such a position. We shall treat their resolutions with the contempt that they deserve. We would like to diagnose the underlying problems as follows. Generally, the situation that has happened in Katonga is similar to a neighbor coming to take a decision in a house he doesn't own. Just like attempting to sell land or property he doesn't own. We have been treated to decula politics by our colleagues in Katonga, which group has been run as a cult. These are fun makers, comedians, who even really talk knowing that the law is not with them. I even wonder which law school Lukwago actually went to. I think the law council needs to question, the integrity of the qualifications of Lukwago. I have seen him trying to argue cases, but you see a man who exercises politics in court, and he thought he would do that with us here. The authority here drive their own interests down our throat using Dr. Kizza Besigye as a prop. We said to them, we will not allow our party to be taken by anybody, no matter his political size or weight. This actually makes me believe that there is a very big fundamental problem with the so-called made in 1986 political group or model. These Bush war people who came to this country through the bush, seem to be behaving the same way, who have over time proven to be the same. Everything Ugandans know about Mr. Museveni, Colonel Kizza Besigye seems to be 3 or 2-fold of it. Up to now, as we all know, Mr. Museveni has never dreamt of life outside the presidency, with more ambiguities on the succession plan, which we are really calling on him to begin talking about. It's worse with our brother Colonel Besigye, for as long as he is not the leader of this party or has a proxy here in Najjankumbi or any anti-government organization, the country and the entire world has no person that can serve better than him. Never imagined a time when an election would be conducted without them and a certain level of success registered. But we made a statement to them in 2021 that without Dr. Kizza Besigye, without Lukwago supporting what we're doing here, we still could participate in an election and return results. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate our friends who are committed to the party, who have resisted the confusion caused by our friends in Katonga and stayed steadfast in the activities and support for the party. You will recall that according to Dr. Besigye, General Muntu was bad for the party and therefore branded a mole and had to be hounded out of the party. And I want to say something a little bit about this. I was in the center of this all as a candidate. And my team began to foment this rumor. And I asked Ingrid, are you sure Muntu is a mole? And she said, without any shade of doubt, he is a mole. Poor man was harassed here. Dr. Besigye and his wife, Dr. Winnie Byanyima, came here, harassed Muntu, wanting him to resign. At an appropriate time, we will tender our apology to Muntu on behalf of those people. Now, even me, who succeeded General Muntu, together with the Secretary General, Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi, when we refused to serve the interests of Dr. Besigye, when we refused to be his stooges were branded all sorts of names like sellouts, Engata, Ebikoko, and all other tribes of names that one can ever think of. I can assure you that even in his political, even his current political peg boys will fall out with him should they attempt to be independent-minded. They are this breed of politicians who hate people who have got political independence and reason objectively using their brains. They want to control people. And this is something that we rejected in the FDC. And it has caused some of the problems that we have endured. The world and the world can now see for themselves that the allegation advanced by Dr. Kizza Besigye against the leadership of the FDC were intended to tarnish the Secretary General and myself out of selfish personal considerations. We saw how the team was busy discrediting the leadership of the party, yet this group is even more questionable than those they intend to blackmail. Clearly, Dr. Kizza Besigye has surrounded himself with characters of questionable reputation, knowingly, but has kept silent for his own political expedience. We will now examine some of these people without fear of favor. The Honorable Semuju Nganda Ibrahim. He's the Speaker's peg boy, whose integrity is deeply questionable. He's the only Ugandan who has superseded the record of traveling. I was a member of parliament, and you know, travels do not come that easily. That he has managed to travel for more days than exist in a period of 182 days. And we have evidence to this effect. For him, he traveled out of the country on purported parliamentary duties for 196 days in a year. When we were hunting for corrupt officials at parliament, Semuju would have been lined up as a culprit, number one. That such a person is heading the process of forming a new party. Is this going to be a party of the corrupt? Certainly it's going to be. Of course, you heard him recently, refusing to sign on a petition. And the reason he gave was really very strange. That because the person who was being petitioned against is his friend, he would prefer not to fight corruption, or that, on a person who is alleged to have been corrupted on account of the person being his friend. And these are people who want to kill FDC and form a new political organization, and they believe that it will appeal to the people of Uganda. I think they are daydreaming. Honorable Francis Mujuke. I really laughed yesterday when I was watching the Morning Breeze, when Mujuke, in his stammering manner, was questioning the knowledge of the law of a teacher of the law. And I think I want to thank the Honorable Sibambi for his polite demeanor, because he remained polite. It was like looking at this fool, who a teacher of law teaching in the Law Development Center in the oldest university in this country. And you go on television to question his credentials. saying all sorts of things about him, and yet there are skeletons in his closet that can be proved. This one's name should actually, we, the Baganda, would call him Somba Bioma. Because whom has he not flinched of money in this country, including those he is hobnobbing with at a party level? I can report he misappropriated a lot of money, but we forgave him. I have received complaints from 56 MPs on account of that kind of theft. This very member, we have privileged information of his active involvement in the Patriotic League of Uganda activities, led by Muhoozi in the Ankole sub-region. In fact, the 2 times he has succeeded to go to parliament, he has either collaborated directly with the NRM or has come, as was recently the case in the election of 2021, come under the protection of the SFC in order to win the election. And Dr. Besigye thinks, in fact, I would like to even inform the public that Dr. Besigye knows all about this, about the involvement of Mwijike with the PLU, about his association with Muhoozi, the first son, about his association with the NRM. But is prepared to turn the other way because Mwijike sings his praises. Our sister, Honorable Salam, is known to be a regular visitor of State House. We have also seen her on several occasions escorting Mr. Museveni on foreign trips. We don't understand under what capacity. The same person was bankrolled by the State House with billions of shillings, ostensibly to defeat the then Speaker of Parliament in the Kamuli district woman election race. And I am going to say this with authority. Because in a meeting that had senior leaders, including Dr. Besigye, she confessed to this. I'm surprised that Dr. Besigye is looking for people who collaborate with the NRM, and yet just before his nose, there are people who do exactly that. Just recently, on the 26th of January 2024, she was invited and attended as a special guest at the NRM Liberation Day celebration in Buenge Town Council, Jinja District, which was presided by Mr. Museveni. We wonder whether the party that is about to be formed, which Honorable Salam seems to be the spokesperson, she was a master of ceremony in the purported delegates conference, represented on was represented by Salam on the NRM Day, or is an extension of the NRM. Elias Lukwago. There is a popular saying or adage among us Baganda, akasanke kakulema. A person who has failed to run a city wants to run a national grassroots party. Really? Now this one, who has he ever managed? What has he ever managed in life? Apart from political nobanism, where he's been killing political formations, the DP, Subi, A4C, TJ, wherever he has left those political formations, he has left political turmoil. he attempted to bring political confusion to FDC. And we stepped on his neck on that. I am happy that he found us alert and we managed to block his political schemes. No wonder his only experience now is in presiding over a stinking city full of potholes and galvanizing political capital out of death, like the recent one of Kitezi, where he is directly politically responsible, but only collects media to cry every day. He collects you people when he wants to shed tears so that he may be seen to be concerned about the plight of the people, so that he may win another election in the city. I hope the people of Kampala this time are alert. And I would like to take the opportunity on behalf of the FDC to tender our apology to the people of Kampala for fielding such a person as a candidate of the FDC for the mayoral seat of the largest city in Uganda. By the way, we saw General Saleh threatening to withdraw his support from him. When did sworn members of opposition like Lukwago begin surviving on support from General Saleh, President Museveni's young brother? Isn't this the same that will be transferred to the new party in the offing under the stewardship of Lukwago? We challenged Lukwago here about the letter, the simple note written by Saleh, and he nearly burst in neck. He shouted on top of his voice and said, "Look, don't go in that direction," because he feared to be exposed. I have seen him recently saying he went to court, but he was suing the national newspaper. He wasn't suing Saleh, the author of that letter, and who was the first man to defend Lukwago over this. It was Dr. Kiza Besigye who defended him. Immediately that note came out, the next day he ran to the media to try to convince the country how clean Lukwago is. Waswa Birigwa. And you know that Waswa Birigwa is known very well, famous for climbing over walls. Without any threat, because he wanted to embarrass the party, he climbed over a wall in Najjankumbi. We watched him. I was here. Everybody was up in arms against the party. But before long, he was climbing over another wall in Katonga. We don't know which wall he will climb next. He admitted before Dr. Besigye that he had been in meetings with Museveni cutting deals. And yet, he continues to get praises from our friends in Katonga. You heard them calling him unbogable, unshakable. A man who has openly come out and said, you know, he speaks to Museveni. He's on record. A man who wanted to stop an election here and therefore abused the sanctity of the office of chairman. We made a big political blunder in Lukwago and Birigwa. Actually, we realized our mistake too late, because under our constitution, A person to become chairman of a party should have a character beyond reproach. A person to become chairman of the party should have served for a certain period of time prior to contesting to become chairman. Birigwa came, he was brought by Sebugwao, he had crossed from NRM the day before, and we made a big mistake to elect him as chairman. In fact, it was a constitutional blunder for which the whole FDC should take responsibility. If we were fully awake at the time, we would not be having these problems in the party. At this point, permit me to clear the air on a number of issues. Number one, the convening of the National Delegates Conference of the 6th of October 2023 after the ruling of Justice Sekana. There is an allegation that it was not convened properly. I want to assure the public that whereas under our constitution, it is the chairman that is authorized to convene National Delegates Conference. This is done as an office, not as an individual. It is also clearly stated in our constitution that the chairman shall be deputized. Therefore, in the absence of the chairman and in recognizing the fact that a void can never be left, a deputy will act. And so it was in order for the party, once Birigwa was unwilling to work as the chairman, to resort to his deputy to fill up the gap. I heard Mujike saying yesterday that which team were Mukala's Chibuka was in intensive care and could not have signed that letter. This is a matter of personal health, but I think it was unfair to our elder Chibuka, because Chibuka was able to sign that communication calling the National Delegates Conference, which was given within time. Our friends in Katonga are certainly in shock about the manner we have galvanized this country. They do not believe the following that they see, that we have marshaled in 6 political rallies in Uganda. And your cameras have been available. When we went to Soroti, they said, you know, that was Photoshop. I am happy to the Daily Monitor that brought the pictures to the whole country and to the world. Video in Katonga there, who was interested in the Daily Monitor, was not very happy by those pictures. But we continue to unravel the length and breadth of this country. And to those political failures who have lost political luster, who are now, almost flat on their face. Thank you very much for filing those questions. Drastic measures, we will cross the bridge as we get there. So far, what we are experiencing is a mere threat. It's a mere threat. I don't even think that these fellows would have the spine to execute that threat. So we shall wait and observe what they do. And as management, we shall take a decision on the way forward. On the injunction against our National Delegates Conference, was that the question? Against their National Delegates Conference, I will ask the law guru to respond to that, because he will respond to it appropriately. But it's true that the so-called Extraordinary National Delegates Conference was stopped after three members of our party, on their own, went to court. On issues, this is from Kananura, of collaboration with Museveni, we have evidence. We also have evidence of money in respect to them. And if challenged, we can adduce this evidence. We can even bring witnesses. But the accusation of Dr. Kiza against us, the Secretary General and myself, was found to be hearsay, just merely rumor mongering. The opportunity was given to him to prove through channels within the party. And I invite you, the media, Mr. Kananura, to look at the report written by the Elders Committee that settled this matter once and for all. The opposition being divided and therefore probably giving the party dividend, this holds water. I think Mr. Museveni is very happy that there are quarrels within the opposition over money. And those promoting these quarrels are actually doing work for Museveni. They are. Because can you imagine a person who means well for the opposition in this country, prophesying death, encouraging the death, participating in the killing of a political organization, an organization that has got demonstrable political support across the country, an organization that has gained strength, gone from strength to strength in its nearly 20 years existence. You can tell whom the workers of Museveni are. They are going to continue doing their work in other organizations. But as I said, the founders are awake, the founders alert, and we would not tolerate their nonsense. The other one, a legal issue that our legal guru is going to answer. But I want to say this, you people in the media, take some time to read. Take some time to read. I was shocked when NBS posted on their account on X saying Waswa Birigwa has been reinstated. And yet there was no declaration to that effect. You guys, stop misleading the public. You have got a duty to this country. Is Daily Monitor, NBS here? They're around. Why do you rush without carrying out research to report unresearched information? In fact, you caused the Birigwa to get excited for nothing. You served him air. But that is not good for the country. Carry out your research before reporting. Carry out your research before writing. It will help you the same way it would help the nation of Uganda. Over to you, Honorable Sibambi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. When you say guru, at times maybe you could Rukwagwan and Mijuki said, which kind of lawyer is that? PP, everyone tell you, I was the second best student and Makerere. Out of 144 at the University of Florida, I was the best student. I was nominated as the lecturer of the year on 3 occasions consecutively at Makerere. So I'm not ordinary. And I taught the Lord Mayor. I know his grades, I can say. Mr. President, going to the points I have to clarify. In the first place, the delegates conference by the Katonga group was stopped by an injunction issued by Lord Justice Nambayo. So any resolutions passed in that meeting are null and void because there was a court order stopping their delegates conference. In other words, the appointment of the leadership, which they call the interim leaders of the party, is also void ab initio, it's null and void. And the Lord Mayor, being senior lawyer, definitely knows that. So when the media keep referring to the Lord Mayor as the president of Katonga Group, is also a very big mistake. So as we talk now, all the deliberations under that kind of leadership elected in a meeting which had been stopped by a high court without any challenge, who definitely, whatever resolutions are not only ultra vires, but they are void ab initio. Then for the second point about Uganda Road, I want to join you, the PP, to really request the media to investigate. This morning, radio program of Radio 1, that Zaina program, they were talking about, I hear court has recognized Birigwa as the party chairman. First of all, matters to do with the parties can only be challenged or filed in the High Court. Whatever was filed in the Magistrate Court had nothing to do with administration or management of the political party called FDC. It had to do with what they refer to as private prosecution. Private prosecution is given as a right to a private individual who is not DPP to bring criminal action against any criminal, not civil action. So if you suspect a Ugandan or any other person who has committed a crime and police has not moved, or the state, for you as a private citizen, you may bring a private prosecution in a criminal court. But before that case is brought, for it not to be frivolous, then you go to court and seek for permission to bring a private prosecution. At that level, the court will not even look at the details of the case, but they look at what we call a prima facie case, the ordinary issues. Do you have really a matter for court to recognize and bring a criminal action against the individual, notwithstanding the office of the DPP? So at that level, the Wante, a Ugandan, brought an action to challenge the purported claim by Birigwa that he's the chairman. And then the court did not even look at whether they have good grounds. He said this matter has been brought without identifying yourself. You have no LC letter, and you have not even expressed why you are coming in to bring this action when it could have been brought elsewhere. So it was dismissed at that technicality. The court made no declarations as to whether Birigwa is the rightful office bearer. And that's why I have a very big problem with whoever said Birigwa is the chairperson. Otherwise, we will not be here. See, and I was challenging my student, because I also taught Lukwago. That's why I said I know whichever grades at the law school. So I challenged him to go and take a letter or any document at the electoral commission for him to be recognized as their chairman. We are not just claiming leadership. The proper office for you to investigate, the registry, is at the electoral commission. Period. Or a court order overturning or throwing out the leadership. I think we really beg not to go that direction of saying who is in charge, who is not in charge. It can only be verified by going to the registry and get certified copies, and we just give way. I don't know whether I've answered those matters.